Welcome back to What the Really News. This week I feel we are on the eve of devblog season for 1.97. So hit that subscribe button because I have some interesting things to point out. First off, we know pretty much that Swedish tanks are going to come in this patch. A few other things too, but starting off with what Swedish tanks would come in a Swedish tank tree. Well, there's plenty to speculate on. There's actually a few that we can for sure confirm. And that would take us back a single month to a interview that Gaijin had with MMORPG.com, in which they announced quite a few things that were to come in 2020. Now I have covered this already, but if you don't remember, in the terms of Swedish tanks, they named one exactly that they said was going to come, the IKV-72, which is an open-top tank destroyer looking thing. Its actual role was a infantry artillery vehicle, though it's not going to be shooting much infantry in War Thunder. It was armed with a 75mm cannon and had some pretty good depression. The strangest bit though is it's not from the Second World War era, it's actually from the 50s, and had two variants of it armed with 105s, the IKV-102 and IKV-103. Now that it's proven that we're going to get this thing, it wouldn't be too much of a stretch to imagine that we also get its variants. However, we still have not gotten the Honi 2, despite having the Honi 1 and Honi 3. So little is for certain. All these were apparently rebuilt into ATGM carriers in the 80s, so there is another possible tank that we could see. But before we go there, let's go back to the article, because there's another tank that popped up unintentionally that has a high likelihood of being also in the tree. You see, my friends, after they state the IKV-72 self-propelled gun, there is an editor's note saying that the response originally incorrectly stated the Swedish IKV-91, which we had corrected to the Swedish IKV-72. My assumptions of what had happened here is Gaijin had answered this question via probably email and typed out the wrong tank name, intending to be the 72, as they did not want to share that they had also planned to release the 91 as well. And perhaps when they sent over the image, one of the editors recognized the thing was wrong, or maybe Gaijin quickly realized they had sent over the wrong information and sent a second email correcting themselves. Regardless on the circumstances of this editor's note, the fact stands that it is very likely that we could see the IKV-91. But what is this vehicle anyways? It was a highly mobile assault gun from the early 70s armed with a 90mm cannon that could fire HE and heat ammunition. It could reach a max speed of 65 kilometers an hour with a great 20.2 power to weight ratio, allowing it to do some amazing stuff off roads as well. It also had a laser rangefinder, night vision, and best of all, was fully amphibious. If this thing were to be added, it'd probably be a pretty high battle ratings, maybe 8.0, though it doesn't have any APFSDS, so maybe 7.7. Regardless, it sounds like it will be a pretty great tank to take out. And just like the IKV-72, the IKV-91 also has some other variants, most notably the IKV-91-105, which has a, well, of course, 105mm gun. However, I can't find out if this new gun is able to fire any AP ammunition. And there's also the prototype, which seems to be rather similar to the original. Now, the MMORPG.com interview does not state any other vehicles to expect in the tree, though there are other places where we could find a source of information. One of which is the official forum. Some of the forum staff was in fact talking about some things we could expect in the next tree, also some things we could not expect. First, I think we could start with a nice quote from the store to do in the terms of people question whether the Swedish tree is going to be like the Chinese tree a lot, full of copy-paste things. He said, "The chances are none, as Sweden has lots of unique domestic designs, so much that there will be very few reskins in the tree." Now this is two things. It fills me with confidence that the tree is going to be pretty good and not just reskins, and they're actually going to put some effort into it. But it also makes me feel a bit concerned that the tree might be kind of thin, because Sweden did use a lot of other nations' vehicles. Not as much as China, but they did make use of the Centurion. They had both the Centurion Mark III and Mark X, and had domestic upgrades of these vehicles, lest we forget the Strv-81 RB-52. But not only that, they also made use of the Panzer 38T and the Leopard 2A4 and 2A5, which would be the ideal ending of this tank tree. Also, at one point in history, Sweden had found themselves a Tiger 2P of all the tanks in the world and evaluated it. I think they eventually broke it down for scrap, but I would really like to see that in the tree somehow, somewhere. Maybe as an event vehicle, or maybe just as a regular premium. Mainly because it's just a really odd story how it fell into their hands, and they need a Sherman. Some missile on those vehicles would leave the tree quite unfinished in my opinion, so I at least hope that they still have those in there. Well, I guess you don't really need the Panzer 38Ts, but you know, wouldn't hurt too much. I don't think anyone's going to lose an eye over a early war tank. Our next quote comes from Sin1080p in response to someone questioning whether there will be any more premium STRV tweets, he replies with, "At least in this update, there won't be another premium STRV 103, given that we just had one." Given that quote, I think it's pretty fair to assume that the A, B, and C variants of the 103 will definitely be in the tree, and none of them will be strung out to be premiums unnecessarily. A few other vehicles that I feel like are kind of obvious to come would be like the Landsrek L60, its Spag variant, the L62 with a 40mm Bofors cannon, and other things like the Stridsvagn M42, which doesn't look like too bad of a thing. Apparently it's 55mm on its strongest spot with a 75mm gun, so if it has a good battle rating, it could be an alright vehicle. But beyond there, it'd be a little iffy on what exactly would and wouldn't come. Speaking of things that won't come, there actually are some things that have been confirmed to not come in the next patch. And a quote from Sim1080p, I think he was replying to a conversation that got deleted on the official farms. He states, "Guys, again please, the tank is not coming to 1.97, and this is not a place to discuss it. I have answered the question and posted already, so if you wish to continue discussing the Type 69-2A, please do so elsewhere." So if you're looking forward to that tank that mysteriously is in the files, doesn't look like it's coming yet. However, if you're a fan of the Chinese tree, don't be too upset, because remember last week I read a Q&A in which they did say that Chinese Spags are coming sometime in the future. They didn't say precisely 1.97, but I think it's fair to assume, or at least hope for. On some other War Thunder social media pages, there are some pretty interesting posts. On the US Twitter and Instagram page, there was an image of a Panzer IV F1 and some random facts about its history. But what's interesting is that this Panzer F1 has a bunch of Hungarian decals all over it, and on the back the number 621. Now the thing is though, I can't find a skin on the War Thunder live page that matches this setup. And trust me, I looked quite a lot because I need to make a Hungarian tank tree video, and skins for tanks to take out was one of my top priorities. Now this has gotten some to think, oh, perhaps a Hungarian tree is confirmed. I wouldn't be so quick to jump to it. They've shown quite a lot of interesting images on these Twitter posts and Instagram posts that never came to fruition. Perhaps there's a Russian version of the War Thunder live page that I don't know about that happens to have this skin. Or perhaps one of their artists was just in a Hungarian mood that day. Although this is not the only happening on Twitter, there is a Japanese War Thunder Twitter page in which had posted a bizarre image of a street corner with the hashtags War Thunder and War Thunder JP, and nothing else of this post. One might think, oh, perhaps the person running it just uploaded the wrong image, but perhaps not, as there is something odd about this image. In fact, one of the signs had been blacked out, as if to cover up something. But luckily for all of us, the mystery had already been solved. Somebody who probably spent far too much time on Google Maps had found the exact location in which the image was taken and discovered which the sign is pointing to. It is the Gifu Air Feel, which is a military base that houses various vehicles such as the Mitsubishi F4E J-Kai, which isn't the first time this vehicle has been brought up. In fact, there was a post about it saying that it was going to come to War Thunder, but no exact date, though it was assumed to be the first patch. Although, if they're just going to interview about the plane, perhaps it's not done entirely yet. The patch is assumed to come out sometime mid-March, and it seems to take them quite a while to actually add a vehicle into game, though they probably have been working on this for quite some time. So what do you think? Is the F4E J-Kai going to come to War Thunder? It would fulfill the meme of Japan getting another twin-engine fighter, although the Gifu Air Force Base is also where US soldiers had found what was left of the Ki-64, which happens to be not only a twin-engine fighter, but also one of many planes that was leaked in those models found on the DVR page last year. Another possible thing coming in the next patch is something found in the files, a Denmark map. The map itself seems to be mostly farmland, and is titled to be an air map. I hope it's not another arcade map, as I don't play arcade that often, so it wouldn't impact me at all. Although I find it kind of strange that we didn't get something more fitting with Swedish tanks. Though, the patch isn't here yet, so you never know what's going to come. And Denmark does count as a Nordic nation, so I guess you're in the ballpark. Though it'd be pretty cool on this map if you could find some V2 rockets. The final story I have for this video is another Sim1080p quote. However, this one is a bit more mysterious, in replying to someone saying, "I will be pleased if you tell me that we'll have one next week, a devlog. I don't care about the number or vehicle. I just want to hear you saying that we will have devlog next week." He posted a gif of someone saying it's a possibility. But what's really interesting about this post is the next one down, where he quotes someone saying, "To be fair, a major ninja update would actually be cool to see, like one day, boom, 1.97. His response to this was, "Update 1.97, stealth mode engaged, confirmed," and then a winky face. What I can get from this is that devlogs are definitely pretty close. Are they going to come next week? I don't know. They could even come before this video is out, which would be kind of awkward. But what they do with most patches that have a tank tree in them is typically the first devlog is for the reserve tier of whatever tank tree is coming. As for the second part of that, I think it's just Sim 1080p memeing along. I don't suspect any stealth mechanics, though they did add radar and infrared and thermals, so adding some vehicles who have the ability to counter this would be a future possibility. But anyways, what do you think is going to come in the next patch? Be sure to hit me up down below on the comments or on my Discord. Before I end this video, first I'd like to thank my YouTube members, starting with a new one, Z71Tex002, who also happens to be the guy who basically runs the squadron battles for my squadron. Thanks for doing that, dude. One Max, Durkongs TV, Roger Rammer, The Royal Rat, Grimace, I like them thick, Mighty Peppers, Pointless Gunsinks, and Waffly Joker 6. A big thank to all of them. YouTube members get videos uploaded to them a little bit early, unique Discord role, and emojis during streams. So if you wish to join them, it's $5 a month. All you have to do is press the join button down below. And if you liked the video, be sure to hit the like button. If you didn't like the video, don't hit the like button. If you want to see more, hit the subscribe button. I make War Thunder Weekly News videos every Sunday. I make random videos throughout the week. I like to make streams on Saturdays. So be sure to hit the bell icon to be notified anytime I upload anything. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. In the terms of bonus news, the mouse is broken. And not in the broken as in good way, the broken as in not functioning correctly way.